Hello, and welcome to TSOC Tea Time. I'm your host, Alexandra Enyart, Company Music Director. Our tea of the day is Egyptian Golden Chamomile. Our special guest of the day is Aaron Hunt. Aaron is the brains, the head, and the heart behind Transgressive Theatre Opera and well-known Chicago arts critic. Aaron, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm even better now that I've heard the name of the tea.
Yes, isn't that cute? A nice little chamomile. So we'll go first to our teacup of our question of the day.
Great.
This one jumped right out at us. But there are two. Let's put that. So Aaron, what is your favorite brunch food?
Brunch food. It is absolutely wrong for me to tell the truth, and I'm going to go right ahead and do it anyway. I love Ann Sather's cinnamon rolls, and I order extra icing, and I just dump it all over them, and then I eat it, and then I lick it off my mustache just like a plebeian, and I don't care. But I don't usually talk about it in public.
That's so fantastic. It's that whenever you get a cinnamon roll that's just overloaded, that's the way to enjoy them.
Exactly. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
That's great. And that embodies so much of what you do also. I love that. So Aaron, you work as an arts reviewer and a critic, and I wanted to ask what you consider the role of the reviewer to be in the life cycle of opera.
Thank you for having me here today to talk about that, because so many things are in flux right now, and it's a very interesting topic of conversation within that field. What is journalism? What is criticism? What is reviewing? And of course, the internet had already changed everything. And what it did was give a lot more people voice, which is wonderful. I mean, more opinions are usually better, but it also meant that people who had actually studied journalism and the sort of the ethics of research and particular fields in which they might be writing criticism or some more academic sort of papers, those people didn't have jobs anymore. It was just sort of became an almost non-existent career path. So what we have now are a lot of people writing, which is great because it's easy to do on the internet. It's easy to place things. It's easy for any sort of news organization or website to find people to write at a very low fee and frequently for nothing. And that's changed the dynamic of, I I don't want to come off as somebody who would call anybody a dilettante, and then I don't mean that. A fresh opinion is a fresh opinion. Somebody coming to an art form who knows nothing about it, I want to hear what it is that they've got to say. I'm not so sure about that particular person calling themselves a reviewer or a critic and going to a piece such as an opera company, an opera that's being done storefront style in a smaller room. If the person there has never seen a storefront opera production before, or even storefront theater, I want to know what that person thinks, but then I think they have to be really, really careful about what it is that they have to say, because this is not their background. So that's changed. And I don't know what we're going to do about it because the ethics of reviewing and the ethics of arts journalism is now, of course, completely up in the air. Who's going to write that book? Who's going to say who has a right to? Who's going to say who should curate what particular art form? And is there ownership? Is there belonging? And if so, how is that divided? Right now, it's sort of every person for themselves, and people can call themselves a critic or a reviewer, and some people call themselves journalists. And there was a time when you couldn't really call yourself a journalist if you didn't have a certain degree. It was just not done. But now you can. If you write about a particular subject, you can call yourself a journalist. You're being published. You know, even if it's online, you're being published. So it's left to the individual to decide what their ethics are. And that's a large conversation, and I will say it's a passionate conversation, because people like me who do more than one thing want to be able to write about the thing that I know a lot about, because I'm one of the few people who actually does it. Mm-hmm. And some people would say, I have no business doing that because I could have a conflict of interest. And I get that, and I understand that, and I can argue that point. I'm careful about it. I try to pay attention to it. I work on it. But I also believe, I know that one of the offshoots of arts criticism and or arts journalism is that's the history. I mean, where else is the history? I mean, websites die when companies go out of business, 10, 20 years, the right people retire and it doesn't happen anymore. Where's the history? I have, when writing academic papers, had to go to London and go through the archives, because I was researching a piece that was so old that they hadn't caught up with getting the reviews online. And I went, scrolled through the little microfiche things, because the record was in what the criticism was. And sometimes it was even where the production had been performed, and how many performances were given, and who actually sang. And that's where the record is. So it's so important to me. It's such an important discussion. We are historians too, which is something that I think some people forget. What we write will be around. I mean, what we put on Facebook will be around.
And you still go back to reviews from early productions. I mean, reviews are used all the time as historical documents.
Exactly.
So that little bell means that it is time to read our tea leaves.
Yay!
So, Aaron, what do you have coming up in your future?
In my future, so is this a wide open, projects, personal, whatever?
Whatever the tea leaves say to you.
Okay, great. I love it. We are planning our retirement, and somewhere between 12 and 18 months, if everything goes as we hope it will, we will be moving to Malta. And this is a very big deal. And of course, there are obstacles to overcome and there are challenges, but we are terribly excited about it. So that's something that's coming up for me.
Well, that's fantastic. That's really exciting news. And I hope it's so well-deserved and well-earned. And I hope that you enjoy it completely and fully.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on. And thank you to everyone who is watching TSOC Tea Time. Stay safe and keep being well. I hope you and your families are hanging on in the very best ways possible. Aaron, thank you again so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And join us next time on TSOC Tea Time, Tuesdays at 2 o'clock.